Hello, everyone. I finally feel like a human to do this video. Also, I put the AC on because for some reason we are still experiencing heat waves. Gotta love climate change. So I am here today to talk about the first 3 books in the Throne of Glass series because I told you in my previous video I would do that. I don't actually have the best brain power right now. I had more yesterday, but it was like I had like an actual day off from everything. So I, of course, spent it going book shopping and spending time with my mom and sister, which definitely helped me recharge. But then I had school this morning and brain power is dripping. Brain power is slipping, dripping. I mean, it's kind of running almost on empty. So anyways, the most efficient way I think for me to do this, because I read these books a bit ago and not every intimate detail is fresh in my brain. So we're going to read the reviews that I wrote for them, except for Crown of Midnight, because I did not write a review, which leads me to say this entire video will have spoilers. I don't know how to talk about SJM books without spoilers. So sorry. So if you haven't read these yet, don't watch this video because it's going to be on The Assassin's Blade, Throne of Glass, and Crown of Midnight. And especially Crown of Midnight, I don't know how to talk about without spoilers, which is kind of the whole reason why I didn't do a review. I don't think I even wrote a review for Throne of Glass. I think just The Assassin's Blade got a review. So I'm reading you one review today, and then I'll read you like some of my favorite quotes and moments because I tagged them. Yeah, so that is what we're doing today. So let me pull up my Assassin's Blade review. I'm in the middle of Heir of Fire right now, but because I am so busy with school and work, and because everything's sort of starting to come together, I need to give it my full attention, but I can't. So it's kind of on hold right now, which hurts me. The way Sarah J. Maas foreshadowed so much in this book of novellas through characters and plot points. I continue to be astonished by her writing. Something I also love about her writing is her world building. She always works it. Wow, I found a typo in my review. She always words it. No typo, me crazy. She always works to make it unique but easy to understand and so immersive. I can picture Aurelia so vividly in my mind and so deeply understand exactly why. I'm going to say her name wrong. I think is it Selena? No, it's Selena. And understand exactly why Selena is so in love with Rithold, the capital of the Darlin. If you can learn to endure pain, you can survive anything. The Mute Master. I can't speak this morning. Is my coffee even still warm? No, I have to microwave it again. I have class at like 7:30 on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And it takes me at least an hour or 2 to wake up. So nothing's working. This may be a book of novellas, but it's still a story of Selena Sardonthian and just a glimpse of what I believe she will endure. Through these novellas, Selena finds herself, what she stands for, what she wants, who she wants to be, and standing up for herself and allowing love and happiness into her life. 2 things she never thought she could have. There would never be an end, only this beginning. Even when everything seems hopeless and lost, Selena pulls herself back up, whether it's through rage, hurt, or from the reminder of the strength and love from her people. Terrasen, she would not crumble. The Assassin's Blade is a story of strength, courage, and love, and fighting for what's right, and fighting like hell for your life, even when you feel like giving up. My name is Selena Sardonthian, and I will not be afraid. Thank you, SJM, for continuing to give us FMCs who we can look up to, see ourselves in, and learn from. Wow, I want to fix that review entirely. Sometimes you write things very emotional, and you proofread way too fast, and I'm like, I need to go in and fix some grammar in there. A couple of spelling errors too. Anyways, so that is how I feel about the Assassin's Blade, at least review-wise. But just kind of thinking over my reading experience, I think one of the things I really loved about the Assassin's Blade, and yes, I read it first, you can tell me I shouldn't have, I'm still incredibly happy that I did. I think it gives me a lot of foresight, and it helps for the events happening right now. A lot of people say, oh, it hurts more if you read it after, and I'm like, but then I don't have that information. So I think it's also weird that SJM says you should read it after Heir of Fire, which I think is bizarre. Because you need this information for Selena's for Selena's backstory to hit more, in my opinion. Because if you're in the dark, like, I don't know, it's just weird. She also wrote it first, which I think is a reason for that. So I liked it because we got to see all these little vignettes of Selena's life. And it was really cool because it really grew the world of Adarlan. It really kind of showed us a lot of what was going on, like the politics, everything that the King of Adarlan is doing and just how bad things are. But we also got to learn like about the Mute Master and where the assassins train, you know, in the desert. And so it just gave us a really cool peek into this new world, you know, because I've been in Prynthian, I've been in Crescent City, and this is a great way to get to know Aurelia. I also feel like you get to know Selena, you get to also understand sort of the fantasy elements of this world, and you also meet Sam. We love Sam, the unsung hero of this whole story. And you get to see a lot of where Selena's pain comes from. So let me see. Okay, I think the gray is lore, so we're going to look at just quotes for now. This looks like when Selena is talking to someone at a market about spider silk. Selena flipped open the lid and her breath caught. A folded bit of woven spider silk lay inside, no larger than 6 square inches. She could buy 10 horses with it. Not that she'd ever sell it. No, this was an heirloom to be passed down from generation to generation. If she ever had children, which seemed unlikely. A reminder of what? She shut the lid and tucked the small box into the inner pocket of her white tunic. The merchant smiled sadly, but everything has a price. A phantom pain flashed through her face. I know, she said, and laughed. And I really love that line because, especially with Selena's story, we really see how all of her choices have a consequence, and that upsets her the most. And I think that is hopefully something that we'll see in her overall arc, is her coming to terms and accepting that, like, any choice you make always has a price or a consequence, or just any result that, like, something else will lose out on and suffer. And it doesn't even have to be drastic like death, but it's still something that I think Selena is really learning to cope with. And it's really frustrating her, that especially that I'm experiencing with an Heir of Fire right now, which is really cool. Cool in the sense of her arc. So, let's see. Oh, so I had this quote in my review. It's basically what the Mute Master says to her, is if you can learn to endure pain, you can survive anything. Some people learn to embrace it, to love it. Some endure it through drowning in the sorrow or making themselves forget. Others turn it into anger. But Ansel let her pain become hate and let it consume her until she became something else entirely, a person I don't think she ever wished to be. I think that's such good commentary on, like, maybe how, like, a lot of villains are made in stories. And it all comes down to a choice and how you choose to allow things that happen to you affect you. Because in reality, that is the only control we have, is things are always going to happen to us, but we have the control over how we process it, how we let it affect us, how it changes us into who we become. And I really like that the Mute Master said that to her, but that Sarah wrote it. It kind of reminds me of the quote that everyone loves in A Court of Mist and Fury, don't let the bad days win. I think they're very, like, that sentiment is very interconnected. And I think that's truly a message across the board that Sarah herself might be trying to understand as well, because she has talked about having her own mental health issues and, you know, figuring out, you know, she talked about in a few interviews, I think, like, you know, going to therapy, working out, eating good nutrition, and just all these sort of self-care things to really help her. And she applied a lot of that to Nesta. And so I think that definitely this is something that we as all humans can relate to, is like, how do we process the things that happen to us? How do we get through them and not let them bring us down? Which we know in Heir of Fire, that is kind of like Selena's full story that she's going through with that, trying to figure out. This looks like it's a sweet moment between her and Sam. You're a damned idiot, she breathed. You're a moron and an ass and a damned idiot. He looked like she had hit him, but she went on and grasped both sides of his face. Because I'd pick you. And then she kissed him. And it was just like one of those moments where I've been waiting for them to finally get together. And I hate that Sam dies because, like, he is honestly, he's just so perfect, which is probably why Sarah took him from us. So Selena can go through her journey. And then the iconic line, I of course had to tab. My name is Selena Sardanthian and I will not be afraid. And it just hurts. I think this is when Selena comes. She's in her apartment, I think, at this point, and Arabin's there. Selena, Arabin said again. She stared at the ruined clock, the ruined dishes and tea set. There was no end to this silence. There would never be an end, only this beginning. I want to see the body. The words came from a mouth she wasn't sure belonged to her anymore. No, Arabin said gently. She turned her head toward him, baring her teeth. I want to see the body. I specifically underlined, though, there would never be an end, only this beginning to the silence that she's talking about. And it's very interesting that, like, it wasn't that this pain had hit like rock bottom, that it was kind of like, I'm done. It was that this is like, all this pain I've gone through was fine, but now this thing of Sam dying and like being betrayed and all that and feeling like it's her fault, this is the beginning of the chasm. I am so far down it because of this incident. There's no way I can get back up. There's no way I can even see an end. It's just the beginning. And how she says, yeah, that it hurts. It hurts. Oh, I really like this. She would go into Endovir, go into hell, and she would not crumble. Like, I wonder if we get flashbacks of what happened at Endovir. I don't necessarily know if I want to live it, but like, she's so, like, she has been through so much and she's so brave, and I can't wait to see her journey. Because I heard like Air of Fire is basically like the Court of Mist and Fury, so I'm really excited to see her experience and her growth, and because she's already been through so much, and so I feel like this is now, she really has to deal with it now in Air of Fire. And then I think I just talked about how, like, I tabbed how she let them grab her, let them pull her from the wagon. Like, she just kind of accepted, this is a new thing that I have to go through, and I'll endure it. So, gave this 5 stars. Couldn't stop thinking about it. Absolutely loved it. Oh, this was my review. I did a quote. I like music, she said slowly, because when I hear it, I lose myself within myself, if that makes sense. I become empty and full all at once, and I can feel the whole earth rolling around me. I do think that's one of my favorite quotes from that Sarah's just ever written that has like nothing to do with anything. And I say that because there are so many quotes that have things to do with a lot of things. This is obviously more of just like her describing Selena and how she feels connected to music, but it's not necessarily tied to the plot. Like, my favorite quote is, only you can decide who breaks you, curse breaker. That one is obviously integral to the plot, and especially of Wings of Ruin. So, this quote I love because Sarah like wrote what I feel like music does for me that I've never been able to express into words. I get completely lost and immersed. I feel all the emotions at once, which can make you feel empty because I feel like you feel them out their deepest. And so sometimes you can like get really lost in that, which makes you feel empty. And then I love that I can feel the whole earth whirling around me. Music helps me see so much in my mind. It makes imagination really strong for me, and it makes me feel very deeply. So the line of I can feel the whole earth whirling around me, I feel like that's the music like pulling through you, and also it creates like this deep sadness or empathy or whatever the song's about. So it's just, I loved it. It was beautiful. So this book took me a really long time to get through, which I'm a little frustrated with. It's still 5 stars because the way that I review my books is 5 stars is that I loved it. I don't think the author did anything wrong. And if I do have an issue with it, it's more a me thing and not the author. And also, like, SJM she hasn't ever done anything less than 5 stars for me. So, and then a 4-star is, I really liked your book, but there was something I felt that was really wrong within the writing and it's going to bother me. But I still like your book enough to like tell people they should read it. And then a 3 is, I hate your book. If you want to find a way to torture me, look at my 3 stars and make me reread them. That's what those are. Because at the end of the day, an author still wrote them. So like, I can't really give them a less than a 2 or a 1 because I know for some people it really affects them. So that's kind of how I rate my books. Because I want to still give you the credit for writing it. I found a lot of flaws in it and I think it could be really a lot better. But that's how I feel. So Throne of Glass still got a 5. I didn't write a review for this one, I think also because this whole series, I think there's 8 or 9 books. I just don't have the capacity to write a review for every single one. I think I'd rather write a review on the whole series, which I might shoot myself for because it'll probably be like an essay. So, Throne of Glass, it's a bit slower. Some moments felt a little immature, but I have to remember that Selena is, I think she's only 17 at this point. Maybe 18. Because I know in Crown of Midnight, it's pointed out that she just turned 19 or something. So she's a lot younger. This is also one of Sarah's earliest books that she wrote. And it's still incredible. So I think the YA it really stands out in this one, and it's being 35. That can sometimes it can drone on. I was also a little struggling in life, so I switched to audiobook halfway through, so I could finish it. But I still tabbed a lot. Let me try to just find some. This is more of a lore thing, and it's really interesting because we see a bit of this in Heir of Fire, so I'm really excited to potentially learn more about this. Small white flowers lay at the foot of her cot, and many infant-sized footprints led in and out of the tent. So clearly we know that these are, it sounds like Sarah's describing them they're little fairies. So it's honestly, it's fun learning more about her world building. I know that this, I can tell that Sarah has a lot of inspiration from Norse mythology, a bit of Celtic, and she has done such a good job of making it her own, which I think is really important. So we get to see a bit more of these little fairy creatures in Heir of Fire, so it'll be fun to learn more about that. I mean, this is really interesting. Mother Goddess is just a spirit from one of these other worlds, and that she strayed through something called a word gate and found Aurelia in need of form and life. I don't know how true this is. Don't tell me in the comments. I could be absolutely 100% wrong, but this makes me think of the mother and the cauldron in ACOTAR. Obviously, I don't know everything yet, but it caught my eye. It was very interesting. Oh, and then this is the first sign we got of magic calls to magic, like calls to like. We hear that a lot in Prythian and with the cauldron. So I'm guessing there is definitely some connection between those two. So, like I said, I don't have a ton to write home about Throne of Glass. We obviously get to know Dorian and Chaol more. And I really like both of them. I especially like Chaol. So, and I feel like Dorian, I like both of them. I have a soft spot for both of them. But I just wasn't in love with the tournament. It was fine. It was fun. But it's not bad, okay? All right, so now we get to Crown of Midnight, which I did read this one. I didn't do audiobook. And I feel like the slow burn really helped me fall in love with it. I cried so much in the last 50 pages and the ending. Shock emoji, secret emoji. I love SJM so much. We'll share a favorite quote soon. But this series has officially won my heart. Has won over my heart so hard. On to Heir of Fire. So, this this is what really did it for me. It was funny because as I was like looking through Throne of Glass to find things for you guys that I wanted to talk about, I started remembering things from Crown of Midnight, and I had to tell myself, like, those are from Crown of Midnight. They're not from this book. So this book really did it for me. I feel like it kind of gave me the love I had for Assassin's Blade and really got me back in. We obviously have like more tabs. I'm wondering who has. Oh yeah, I think between all of them, Crown of Midnight has the most. I did have myself calm down a bit though with tabbing because if you look at ACOTAR, it's kind of out of control. So there's a lot in here. I could spend like hours. I think it's good that her and Dorian aren't together. I did like her and Kale, but I do think that it was a bit of trauma bonding, which I don't know if that's a good thing. But I do feel like he does really care about her, which I think is the most important thing. And I know Dorian does too. And I do like their friendship towards the end. I think that was really beautiful. Let's see. There's a lot of tabs in here about world building. So I'm going to try to just do quotes, but I can't seem to remember which color I did for quotes. Oh, this was really sad. So when Kale asks Selena to dance with him because it's the night of the ball, the moonlight in the garden and the golden glow from the ballroom blurred together, no miles away. We'll never be a normal boy and girl, will we? She managed to say. No, he breathed, eyes blazing. We won't. I want that for Selena and Kale, especially because Kale has to go back to all the things he did for Selena to get her to escape, to protect her after he found out who she is, which we will get to. And now he has to go back and deal with his family. He also doesn't get to have any choices. Oh, I figured out about the wyvern thing. So that's what's her name in the prison was like going on and on about. Okay, so the Volg are interesting. Volg, he knew the name, the demons who stole Fae to breed with them, which made them witches, right? So this is interesting lore. The demons who stole Fae to breed with them and made them witches. That is fascinating to me because we have witches in Crescent City, but we don't really know anything about them. But we do know that, what's her name? The witch at Crescent City. She's the one who ends up becomes leader of the coven. She has necromancy powers, which just makes sense now because if they're all connected, it's from demons. So I thought that was really cool world building. I'm not a Narrow-Fire, and my brain keeps wanting to talk about the next book because I have more information. But we're just dealing with Baba Yellowlegs in this book. So I need to calm down. Let's see. Okay, chapter 32. So when Nehemia dies and Selena gets like upset and wants to rip off Kale's face, and that's also the first time she sees Dorian do magic, which is pretty crazy. But it was this chapter that like broke me. It was hard not. Selena had adored Nehemia from the moment she'd laid eyes on her, like they were twin souls who had at last found each other, a soul friend, and now she was gone. Selena put her hand against her chest. How absurd, how utterly absurd and useless that her heart still beat and Nehemia's didn't. The eye of Elena was warm, as if trying to offer some comfort. Selena let her hand drop back to the mattress. She didn't get out of bed that day. This is when Nehemia's death affected me. Like, obviously, like, oh my God, that really happened. But this is the chapter that made me cry about it. And this is, I also feel like, is what really locked me in. I was seeing if maybe I put a note about it, but I didn't. And I do think Kale fucked up in not telling her and putting the king before her, because he acted like he put them above the king. But truly his duties did lie to the king still. And obviously he has now opened his eyes and knows better. And that's why he put her first by lying and sending her to her people where she could be safe. But I don't know if that's entirely true, because it sounds like her grandma might be a little sketchy. But the point is that like Kale learned from his mistakes. But the point is that Kale learned from his mistakes. And so like, I'm not mad at him. I actually love him. And I think he's such a good person. And he sacrificed so much to protect her when he found out the truth. He protected her when he found out the truth about her magic. And then when he finds out who she is, like, we'll get to. It's just amazing. But I hate that Nehemia died, and seeing how much it affected Selena, that messed me up. Okay. So the poem about the word marks is really interesting. Because there's a line in it where it says, into the starry cell. And that made me think about something about Valaris, and I have no idea if they're connected, and I also don't remember my full thought. But I tabbed it, so in case I end up being right, I know that I thought about it when I find out. So that's kind of what half my tabs are. I thought the dark purple was for quotes, and I don't think it is. Them fighting like the creepy creature from the other world, from hell, basically, was really cool and really terrifying. And I always had a feeling that Selena was Fae, especially, you know, how the little fairies came to her in the woods. So having it like confirmed was really exciting. Also, if you think about it, like she has insane stealth. She's an incredibly fast runner. Like, sure, she still works out and trains, but she's still more powerful than most people. Okay, sorry. My phone was about to die. I had to plug it in. So when she finally does see Nehemia, because Nehemia comes through to protect her, Alentia, Nehemia paused to look back at her. The void seemed to be swirling, swallowing her up bit by bit. You will not understand yet, but I knew what my fate was to be, and I embraced it. I ran toward it because it was the only way for things to begin changing, for events to be set in motion. But no matter what I did, Alentia, I want you to know that in the darkness of the past 10 years, you were one of the bright lights for me. Do not let that light go out. And I think rereading that is going to make everything an air of fire just really hit so much harder, because like Selena doesn't believe she's a good friend. She doesn't believe she's a good person. She doesn't believe, you know, she's a good romantic partner. She doesn't believe anything about herself. And I just watched Inside Out too. And like that whole movie it really talks about like not feeling like you're good enough and how anxiety like drives that. And we do all these things to prove that we are. And Selena's at a point where she's like done trying to prove it, and, you know, hitting this point of depression, which the movie also explores. And Sarah is so good. I'm also learning about trauma theory in my English class right now, and it is fascinating. I have not been able to work on my book as much as I wanted to with school and work. And again, my brain power is so limited that during winter break, I can't wait to like hammer away at my book. I'm literally spending winter break to read as much of Throne of Glass and write my book. And I just know that on my second draft of my book, I'm so excited. At this point, I can already see so many things I want to fix, but I'm like, I need to just get the story done because it's all in my head. I need to just get it out so that I can actually like zhuzh things, move the puzzle around. And it's just like, I love reading and writing and analyzing text. It's so fun. Okay. This video is probably incredibly long. Okay, so when Selena leaves... Oh, wait, no, there's another one I want to say first. Is it right here? Where is it? Okay, it is this moment. I just thought it was on the other side of the page. They were friends now, and he knew that physical boundaries between them had been altered. But he turned away rather than let her see the disappointment he knew was all too clear on his face. No, that's not the moment. Something about them... Okay, I can't find it, and I'm just like, is it right here? I don't know. I sent it to my friend and I can't find it right now. And I'm just going to accept it. But I can't wait to learn more about Dorian and his powers. So that's going to be really exciting. I also want to know how the heck he has them, and supposedly magic is banned. So that's really interesting. But Selena says this to Dorian. Thank you for all that you have done for me, Dorian. Thank you for being my friend, for not being like the others. He paused, turning to face her. He kept her chin high, but her eyes were gleaming. I'll come back, she said quietly. I'll come back for you. And he knew that there was more that she wasn't saying, something bigger meaning behind those words. And Dorian still believed her. Holy crap, I just realized, like, if she ends up like, okay, this is where spoilers about to happen, guys. So if like, this is an outrageous spoiler that I did not find this out on the internet. So like, if you don't want to know this, because it's a huge part of Selena and the whole series, stop watching right now. So I think she's actually saying that because we know at this point that she's been in denial that she's Aelin. And in that moment, if she's saying, I'll come back for you, and he says, we hear his inner thoughts of he knew that she was holding something back. If she becomes Aelin and like takes up the throne of Terrasen, she has to attack the king of Adarlan, whatever his name is right now, and like destroy him. So I feel like, is that her saying that she's going to come back and make sure that he's safe? Like she's going to protect him? Because there will be people that have to be killed and sacrificed. Oh my God, Sarah's insane. She's so insane. So, okay. So, before we get to the whole Aelin thing. So she tells him, and then she says, when you do, I want you to remember that it wouldn't have made any difference to me. It's never made any difference to me when it came to you. I'd still pick you. I'll always pick you. And she said that to Sam. I just realized. Oh my God, Sarah! Stop taking away the men that she loves. Let her be happy. And it really does show that Selena cares more about who you are as a person. And I wonder if that's tied into the fact that she's in denial about who she is and how she's so frustrated about how the human and the fae are constantly fighting against each other and wanting one to be better than the other. It's so good because that's like a constant battle that Sarah's talking about in her books, especially in Crescent City. It's so good. Okay, so she tells him to look up. She tells him something we're not told, and then he finally tells us it was a date, a month and a day that had passed a few weeks ago. And he realized that it's the day her parents died. And then he knows about the word keys. And so basically, like, he goes and looks at her papers. And while he's reading it, my brain is going like, there was no word yet about the fate of Ro and Evelyn's daughter, Aelin. And I was like, wait, I was at least 2 sentences ahead of Kale in realization at all times. Because I was like, is this really happening? I'm going to try to remember to put the screenshot of my face that I sent my friend, because holy fuck. Aelin Galantius, heir to the throne of Terrasen, died today, or sometime in the night. Before help could reach her deceased parents' estate, the assassin who had missed her the night before returned. Her body has still not been found, though some believe it was thrown into the river behind her parents' house. And we know that she was thrown into a river, and that's how Erebin found her. He was jumping to conclusions. Maybe she merely wanted him to know that she still cared about Terrasen. There was a poem scribbled at the top of the Ashravir family tree, as though some student had dashed it down as a reminder while studying. Ashravir eyes, the fairest eyes from legends old, and bright as flaring gold. Selena Sardothian wasn't in league with Aelin Ashravir Galantius. Selena Sardothian was Aelin Ashravir Galantius, heir to the throne and rightful king of Terrasen, queen of Terrasen. The fact that like Sarah hid that so well, I don't think anyone guessed it, because it's just she did this so well. And she did this so well because Selena believes that she is not Aelin. Like, even in Heir of Fire, she keeps telling them to not call her Aelin. She's like, that person died. She killed that side of herself. And it's just like, I think that's why we as the readers don't see it coming, because of how much she talks about her past. She makes her past as an assassin being true and gives such vague memories. And that kind of like relates into the whole thing I'm learning about trauma theory and literature, and about like how we only get fragments and we get it out of order and in disarray. And oh, so good. He had just sent her into the arms of her strongest potential allies, to the homeland of her mother, the kingdom of her cousin, and the domain of her aunt, Queen Maeve of the Fae. Celaena was the lost queen of Terrasen. Chaol sank to his youth. Sarah the genius. I don't know what to tell anyone, but she is an absolute genius. And I'm really upset that I'm uber busy with work and life right now, because all I want to do is sit here and devour this series and take notes and write really long papers analyzing how genius she is. But until then, you guys get to be that for me. You get to see me sit here, weep and cry. I wish that my coffee wasn't cold. Do you like my cute little mug of a ghostie I got myself recently? I hope you enjoy. This is the first 3 books. Like I said, I don't know if how I'm gonna do the rest of the series, but they will be more review status rather than, I mean, this kind of is reaction, but not the way I did like ACOTAR. It was hard. Also, I tried to do a review video for House of Sky and Breath, and it was so hard. I think it's unlisted on my Patreon because I didn't feel good enough about it. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. If you're new to this channel, please hit the subscribe button and like and leave a comment. Share all your feelings about Throne of Glass. But for me and for anyone else who is where I'm at, don't go past Crown of Midnight with spoilers. You can do spoilers though, just don't share anything about Heir of Fire and below. Or tell me what you're reading that's making you emotional. And if you'd like to support the channel, you can do that by going to my Patreon and signing up for the $5 tier. There are no rewards. It's just a simple support. Trying to gain support through YouTube ads is really hard. That's why I've now decided to limit how many ads I put on my videos, but also YouTube puts their own ads that they want. But anyways, it's just kind of like tipping as if you go to your local coffee shop. I'm also a barista. But anyways, I also have a Discord. It's sometimes a little quiet, but you can come in and aliven it. And I post in there sometimes, but it's just a nice little place where you can chat. I like to create positivity on the internet as much as possible, especially around books. So anyways, I will see you on the next video, and thank you if you had stayed till the very end. Bye.